Hello everyone! In this video we're going to be creating a simple server-side Swift application using the macOS desktop application, Perfect Assistant version 2. This application enables you to quickly get up and running with server-side Swift projects from Perfect, Katura, Vapor and Zero, and manage their dependencies, build and test Linux executables, and easily deploy to multiple cloud providers. If you follow along with this video, at the end you will have an application running that serves some simple content. You'll know how to easily get to the project directory, open a terminal session in the right place, and open the project in Xcode, all from the Perfect Assistant. You will also get familiar with how to build and run an application from the Assistant. Okay, so to start with, let's open the Perfect Assistant application. You will see the main welcome screen. The left-hand side is where your projects will be listed after you create them. At the middle right of this window is where you can access the various options to create projects. We're here to create a basic application, so double-click on the Perfect Template App icon, and a sheet drops down asking you where you would like to put it, and what you would like to call the project. So the first choice is going to be where to put your project. If you don't have an existing place where you will put your code, I suggest making a folder inside your Documents directory called Development. Inside there, have a folder for each project. So if we're going to call this project Perfect Assistant Demo, then the Perfect Assistant Demo folder would live inside the Development folder. Now it's a good idea to keep dashes and other special characters out of the project names. This makes things easier and cleaner for anything you do on the command line if you need to go there. The next choice is what you're going to call the project. The same rules apply as the path, no special characters or spaces. We're going to call this Perfect Assistant Demo to match the folder we created. For now, let's keep the Integrate Linux Builds with Xcode project unchecked, as it's not in scope for what we're going to be looking at in this video. When you click Create, a new window will open, and the Assistant will start to download the components needed for the application to run. These are called dependencies. This template contains the HTTP server dependency, so what we will see coming in are all the pieces needed to make that one run. They are called subdependencies, and they include networking, cryptography, and more. The last part of what is shown in the output is that it has generated our Xcode project file, perfectassistantdemo.xcodeproj, and then the success message. I'd like you to turn your attention to the title bar of the window. The default layout has a link to go back to the index and icons for Open, Build, Run, and Xcode menu groups. The Open drop-down gives us the option to open the project's working directory in the Finder. This is useful if you want to get to the files and folder view quickly. You can also select Open Terminal to start a terminal session ready to go in the project's directory. You can also use the Open Xcode entry to open the project in Xcode. Next to the Open drop-down is the Build menu. From here you can build local macOS or Linux and trigger deployments or clean up build artifacts, which is a little like a reset. For now, let's choose Build Local. This triggers the build of a macOS version of the application, meaning the code and all of its dependencies get read by the compiler and boiled down to an executable file. The first time it does this, it's a little slow. However, if you build it again afterwards, it's much faster because the Swift compiler is intelligent enough to know that if something hasn't been changed, it doesn't need to compile it again. Now that we've built it, we can use the Run Local Exe option from the Run menu. This opens a new terminal session and starts our server. It will say info starting HTTP server localhost on 0000:8181. This means that it's ready to be accessed in your browser. Now the IP address 0000 is a little special because it means that it's listening on all IP addresses. So in your browser, let's go and load up http://localhost:8181. You should see a plain but cheery hello world. Congratulations, you have your server-side Swift application running. Stop the application from running by pressing Command full stop when you have the terminal window at the front. Then you can close that window. And finally, let's open our project in Xcode and run it from there. From the Open menu, select Open Project. This will open up your project in Xcode. Before you can run it, you will need to select the executable target. It's a quirk of Swift that generating a new project file will create both a library and an executable target, even if it's obviously an executable. So, select the Target menu in the main project window and select the black iconed target. And make sure that you also have My Mac selected from its submenu. Then, right beside it is a Run button. Clicking that will run it just like we did directly from Perfect Assistant, but instead is running from within the Xcode runtime environment. If you open up the console view in the Xcode project window, after the build has finished, you'll see the same info starting at, HTTP server, etc., as we saw in the terminal view. The two methods work exactly the same. However, if you run your project from within Xcode while you're developing, you won't need to constantly switch back and forth from your editor to the terminal to start, stop, and rebuild. Note that when you press Run in Xcode, it will also do a new build if it sees it necessary. To stop the application, simply press the Stop button located between the Run button and the Target dropdown. Okay, so we're done with this segment. You should now be able to start finding your way around the basics of the Perfect Assistant, as well as knowing how to build and run projects both from within the application and from Xcode. In our next video, we're going to be looking at managing dependency. Thank you. See you soon.